Welcome back to another episode of Figs Talks Fights. I'm your host, Brian Figueredo, and today is the first day of UFC 249 Fight Week. That's right. For the first time in about 6 weeks, we're having a fight card. Yes, we're in the midst of a pandemic. Yes, it's not as bad as how it looked as the card was going to be on April the 18th. Okay, if you want to know what my thoughts were about the pandemic and UFC fights going on, check out other videos on this channel. But today, we're going to be talking about Donald Cowboy Cerrone taking on Anthony Showtime Pettis Part 2. Right, this is the second time they fought. And the card, it's going to be the headline of the prelim portions of the card on ESPN aired this Saturday, May the 9th. So let's talk about it. As I said before, this is the second time these guys have fought. So the first thing you want to go back and look at is their first fight. Now, this fight their original fight took place in January 2014. If it wasn't 2014, I believe it was 2013. But anyhow, Cowboy Cerrone and Anthony Pettis were freshly coming out of the WEC after the UFC decided to merge the WEC and the UFC together with all the lower weight classes. And that took place, I believe, the end of 2011. But anyhow, nonetheless, okay, they brought in the featherweight division, the bantamweight division, and eventually created a flyweight division. But a lot of guys from the WEC, from the lightweight division, welterweight division, middleweight, and even up to light heavyweight, they didn't get a lot of respect coming from the WEC, being looked as if they were the B-League fighters compared to the UFC. But we had a lot of great guys coming over from the WEC, even up to light heavyweight. That's where Brian Stan came from. A lot of people seem to forget this. But anyhow, keeping it to these guys. When these guys originally fought, they were both staples in the WEC's lightweight division. It was pretty much these guys were the top three guys. You had Benson Henderson, Cowboy Cerrone, you had Anthony Showtime Pettis, you also had former champion Jamie Varner in there, okay? WEC had a great lightweight division. You had Chris Horodecki, okay? The list goes on. Anyhow, keeping it relevant. When these guys fought, I mean, if you go back and watch it, in my opinion, who has changed more since the first time they fought? Cowboy Cerrone. Typically, the way he starts fights is how he started this fight. Comes in slow, just feeling it out, standing tall, trying to get the pressure on him. Now, Pettis in the original fight started out in an orthodox stance, and these guys had a little bit of trading back and forth, but pretty much you could see that on a 1-step, 2-step, 3-step, Cowboy Cerrone was just 1.5, 2.5. He was just half a step behind Pettis the whole time. Now, this fight did not last long. Actually only got to about 2.5 minutes, maybe 2:35. Anthony Pettis, somewhere about a minute and a half of the first round of this fight, switches from the orthodox into the southpaw position and starts getting success with kicks right away. Now, this would be the first of many fights where we'd find out that body shots to Cowboy Cerrone is something he's more susceptible to, okay? Whether it's because he's sucking back Budweisers all the time or not, who knows? I ain't gonna friggin' judge. Ain't nothing more than, I ain't a fan of Budweiser, but hey, suck a couple of back, enjoy yourself. But anyhow, nonetheless, Pettis finally finds a way to time Cowboy Cerrone coming in, just lifting, because in these days, and Cowboy does this too a little bit. He's just moving his hand. His feints aren't really like full-on feints. They're just little postures of movements that you can sometimes time. So as soon as Cowboy goes to lift his hand up in this motion, poof, comes Pettis and catches him right on the liver. Not as clean in his heart, but you can see Cowboy starting to back off. He's hurting, getting towards the fence, just trying to play tough guy, get through it. Pettis, especially, like, he is a killer. All right, if you've been watching him recently in his 500 record, look, the guy still has a killer instinct in him. Catches Cowboy Cerrone. As soon as Cerrone starts going in to cover up his body and his ribs, this is where you see Showtime Pettis jump off the cage, throw a knee up over top with an a knee underneath through the guard where he's guarding his ribs, okay? Knee comes through here, elbow lands on top, Cerrone circles out, Pettis follows him along the way, on the cage, feints to go up high, poof to the liver. Cowboy Cerrone drops on all fours right away. One shot to a covered up Cerrone on the ground. That's all it took. This was a long time ago. Do I expect to see the same fight Saturday night? No, not at all. But I do expect it to start the same way that the first one did. Cerrone, it doesn't matter what fight he's in. If you can just attack him right away, it's hard for him to get his bearings. I mean, Rafael dos Anjos did it. Obviously, Anthony Pettis did it. Okay? Matt Brown in their fight, I know Cowboy Cerrone won it, but Cowboy had a hard time with him in the beginning because Matt Brown just kept putting it on him. Robbie Lawler in their fight was putting on Cowboy in the beginning of the fight for, even though Robbie Lawler did win that fight, Cowboy was able to rally back in that. The Jorge Masvidal fight, okay, slow starter, and going back to even just his last fight with Conor McGregor. Now, Pettis was coming off a loss on the same card as Donald Cerrone, losing to Diego Ferreira on the undercard of the UFC. What was that? It was just a couple of UFC 246. Okay, so it's a great time to match these guys up. If both of them are relatively healthy, considering we are in the midst of a pandemic, why not? Both of those guys want to get back after it. They know each other. They've also trained with each other since after their first fight. What do I expect to see? Well, I expect Cowboy Cerrone to actually start putting pressure on Pettis a little bit harder and going for a takedown. Pettis is showing vulnerabilities in the grappling department. Not that he's not a great grappler. He is. I mean, the guy has spent over a decade now training with Ben Askren, who's one of the best wrestlers to ever compete as a mixed martial artist. Okay? And that was pretty much Ben Askren's only skill, but nonetheless, world class at that. Okay? Cowboy Cerrone, when he can time a double impeccably. If you watch his fight against Patrick Cote, the way he just kept going with duck unders to a double was beautiful work. So Cowboy Cerrone, he's got to watch out for body shots. He's got to watch out for Anthony Pettis circling around and going into that southpaw because those kicks are coming. It's primarily what Anthony Pettis likes to do from the southpaw position. And Cowboy just has to play a long, smart game, putting pressure on and coming forward, but just staying long and in the range. He's got a reach advantage over Pettis. He needs to take advantage of that. And when Pettis comes forward, change levels, shooting on him. But we'll see what the hell happens. That's how I expect the fight to look. I'm not sure who the hell is going to win out of these two guys. I hate making fight predictions anyways. So who do I got? I don't know. Flip a coin. That guy wins. The winner. I don't fucking know. Okay? But anyhow, UFC 249, Jacksonville, Florida, in front of nobody. Knock on wood. Thankfully, we're in a fucking pandemic, so hopefully they're getting all their COVID tests taken care of, okay? Everyone's getting tested daily. They have a hotel booked, apparently, for all the fighters and all the staff. Everybody can socially distance and take things properly, and we can hopefully still pull this thing off. This is the first of 3 cards coming within a week. We have a fight night coming up the next Wednesday and another fight night coming out the following Saturday. So this week, I'm going to try to put out some videos of some other fights that are happening on this card, including your co-main event, the main event, and the Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstrike fight. Shit, this is a stacked card. This is an old school card. The kind of shit that got me into this sport. So is it going to be weird? Nobody in the arena. We're in the midst of a pandemic. Let's see how we feel when we watch it. I feel a hell of a lot better watching it than what would have happened if they would have gone to the Indian Reserve in California, I think in Tachi Palace. But anyhow, nonetheless, keep it relevant. If you like the content here today, keep checking out this channel. Subscribe to it. I'm going to have some more videos coming out soon. Hopefully MMA is back safely and here to stay. See what the hell happens, all right? If you like the content, give it a thumbs up. Appreciate you watching. Until next time.